I'm thankful for the prayers, I need more of those. Put my hands together by my head and thank the Lord for everything he's done. Yeah, ain't none of us immortal. So while I'm still alive, I got so much to look forward to. Addicted to the
Rough. Today we got Brennan with us, aka Dubby, who is obviously the athlete in the video who's taken on this about 15 months apart, roughly. So a year and 3 months. The first one was like October or something. This one's February of 2020.
Yeah, I think it was October.
So yeah, you've gotten a little bigger, a little stronger.
Right.
Originally, I was gonna like write the workout. I think at like, so the RX weight was
275.
275, 185, and obviously we had you do 185 the first time as a 15-year-old, I believe, and you're now 16, and you could have definitely done this at like 225, but I was like, let's do a little comparison retest.
Yeah, I believe if I would have done 225, it probably would have looked pretty similar to that first one.
Yeah, yep. I was like, if I want to keep the stimulus pretty similar to the first one, I think 225 would have been about right. But, 40 pounds is a big jump, which is a good sign.
Yeah, that's really good.
You just look so little in the first one.
That's, I think, 25-pound difference. And I think maybe 2 inches. I haven't got much taller.
What?
Yeah, 25 pounds, maybe 2 inches.
It was so funny. I was in like high school and my mom was like, you're going to keep growing through college. I was like 5'7" in like 10th grade. And my mom was like, you'll keep growing. And I was like, I literally didn't grow at all from that point forward. Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, my mom's always saying about how my mom's always like, once you hit like your senior year, you'll have a big weight jump. And I'm like, just waiting for it.
Well, weight did keep climbing.
Yes.
I kept getting wider, just not taller. How tall are your parents?
I think my mom's 5'1", 2-ish. I think 5'2", and then my dad, I'm taller than my dad, he's 5'6".
Okay.
That's pretty funny, actually, when you think about it.
So you're taller than your dad?
Yeah.
So you're taller than 5'6" now? I think you were almost like eye to eye me at camp now that I think about it.
I think I'm pretty sure I'm 5'7".
Okay. Well, don't grow anymore. You're the perfect height for a CrossFitter.
One thing I'm noticing that's a little different here is, looks like my deadlift position is a little bit more different. It looks like in that first one, I'm like more sat back a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like you like really like exaggerate your setup a little bit the first time, whereas like I would call like your second version a little bit more of like a Metcon cycling, where it's like a little bit less knee bend, and that could also be a product of it just being a little bit lighter for percentage now.
Yeah.
I'll have to pay attention, but obviously like the weight is like, jumping off the floor just so much quicker. And it's just like when you're moving through reps, it's like even if it's the same time amount of tension, like that you can get through like 150% of the reps when you're moving that quick with a barbell.
Yeah. One thing I did on purpose here too is I set up in the exact same spot that I did before.
Yeah. It was literally perfect. That's the first thing I noticed when I put up these videos. I was like, oh man, this is literally exactly the same. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted.
Well, I watched it right beforehand and I was like making sure everything was like identical, basically.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about this, but you finished basically over a round ahead. So in the first one, you finished in the round of 18, but on the handstand push-ups. The second video, you finished in the round of 21, but you make through all the handstand push-ups and make it back to the deadlifts. So I don't know what it is, like 90 reps difference or something like that. So yeah, I mean, one round in a workout like this is massive. because it's like obviously the rounds, like, you know, and if this was like a workout, like all the elites would get caught in like the same round, for example. So it's like that each round is a huge separator. So like the amount of difference in one round, especially as it gets deep into the workout, is just massive.
Yeah.
See the setup here on this deadlift on the first one. Yeah, you like really like kind of exaggerate hips down and chest up a little bit more. And that could just be like that's heavy.
Yeah. I can tell you for sure that was heavy the first time. I remember it. Very identical.
Well, yeah.
You're right.
I mean, you can see you're setting up every time. Like it's like that max effort pull. And doing singles, obviously. Yeah. Do you feel like once it's like you're able to cycle the bar, it tends to go a lot better if you're able to go touch and go?
On deadlifts, yes, but no. Because I feel like sometimes I can stay very disciplined and just stay on the bar and do singles. Even though it's a little bit harder, I feel like sometimes I can just keep myself with the bar a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But normally on anything else,
and I think it's more...
Shit.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think you're one of the few athletes I've seen have success with singles on deadlift. But obviously that only works if it's, you know, a heavy but repeatable weight where it's like you drop it and kind of, you know, keep your hands on it almost and chase it back down. Yeah. And I think usually people who are like fast off the floor, but it tends to get kind of slower as they get up, like kind of past the knee sticky point for a deadlift, tend to do better with singles. Whereas if like for me, like the hard part's usually off the floor, so like I would never have success doing singles in a workout. Like even if it's like 405 deadlifts in a workout, which is like a high percentage for me, then it's like I would much rather like hang on, do a set, and then like take a longer break and do that, just because it's easier for me to do those touch and go reps.
Yeah.
All right, we got some handstand push-ups side by side here now. Wow, that's like synchro.
I was kind of shocked when I was doing this because I haven't really touched handstand push-up a lot. I've done them since there's, but like it's definitely been the number one priority, and they still look the same, which I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely been one of the things that's been on the back burner, training wise, and we also talked about like how when you get into deeper into a workout, like that round of 21 handstand push-ups that you made it through in the second one, it's like doing 21 in a row is so much harder than doing like the rounds of 3, 6, 9, 12. Like all of those, because you get a break as you go around each time. So it's like if they look relatively similar and you're getting back to the wall that much quicker, it's a good sign.
Yeah, and especially it's harder after doing everyone's much after doing 6, 9, 12.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. It's like exponential fatigue as you get towards the end. It like adds up so much quicker all of a sudden. So yeah, I mean these are 15 months apart. And yeah, you said you're just about to get your license.
Yeah.
So you're 16 now. And so basically you're up into the older teen division now, which is obviously like a big jump in like weights and doing like more gymnastics complexity. Like basically everything's on the table right now. They almost like treat you like you're in the 18 to 34 division in a lot of ways. Like, you know, CrossFit usually has the workouts that are identical. So it's like all of a sudden you're asked to do all these heavy weights and the complexity of all the gymnastics and things. And you're also going through wrestling right now. So kind of take us through like what training kind of looks like right now.
All right. So first of all, training is like, it feels pretty cool being like isolated and stuff. Like I'm training right now. Like I'll wake up at like 4 in the morning. I'll get to the gym, and then like since we have a second room at the gym, the class is going on in one room and I'm working out in the other. It's like no one's in the room, I'm by myself. It feels like I'm training in a garage basically. I've came comfortable with training with no music either, so it feels like I'm just like me in a barbell, basically.
Under the tree.
You're like, this has to be how the Russians are training. It's like it's something out of a Rocky movie.
Yeah.
It's like you got your like knit hat on and you're punching the meat.
Yeah, yeah.
The beef drying from the ceiling. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, yeah, I mean, up until we started working together, you were doing a lot of your training in classes, which, again, you were still seeing really good progress. It's just like a matter of, again, for you, and especially as you're going through wrestling, it's like we just got to back off some of the conditioning, really continuing to push the strength forward and, like, make sure that everything you're doing is pretty high quality and not letting the volume get out of control, because otherwise you'll just get, you know, really fatigued if you're doing that much work. So... But you were kind of mentioning, like, it still, like, feels like a lot of squatting, a lot of strength work in general.
Yeah, that's one thing. The first year, well, that year that we started working together, before, my training was, like, with a lot of Metcons and stuff like that. And I remember I did the Wadapalooza qualifiers my first year, and, like,
Yeah.
it was like so much harder just because of wrestling and stuff like that. Because class, you're doing a Metcon basically almost every single day. It's a lot harder with wrestling, and then doing those qualifiers made it much harder.
Yeah, and that was like the big thing was like you were doing Fittest of the Coast, Wadapalooza qualifiers, and then into the Open last wrestling season, which was just like we had to keep the Metcon volume a little higher to keep you ready to go for that stuff because it was still important to you. But this year, you know, not really competing during the wrestling season besides wrestling, I think was probably a smart move. Last couple seconds here, finishing it out. Nice work, dude. Got any advice for people? Final words?
Dang, I didn't prepare for this again. I'll say the same thing. Stay the course. That's one of the big things that helped me get much better since then.
Want to hear more from Brennan? Check out this podcast.
Wrestling's like, it's really hard before the year. I'm like so excited to get to it. And then like right in the middle, like January to February, I'm like, I just want this to be over, honestly. Like, It's getting hard, but then, like, you gotta realize, like, all your state tournaments, your qualifiers just coming up, so you have to, like, push through that part. But I love CrossFit. CrossFit and wrestling are, like, buddy-buddy.